Hey guys, this is about finding limits from an equation, but it has this function notation in the top of f parentheses 6 plus h minus f of another number. Yeah, okay, so in college algebra, y'all dealt with this equation, not the limit part, but you did deal with the all over h. It was something called the difference quotient in college algebra. So in college algebra or business math 1, whatever, y'all dealt with an equation that looks like this, and in business math 2, we just tack on the limit. Yeah, okay. So usually h is like time in a word problem, if you were wondering. Okay, so how to find a function value from an f of x equation and then find the limit. Okay, so first we find your function values by plugging in whatever is inside the parentheses into your f of x equation. So what's inside my parentheses? A 6 plus h and a 6. Okay, so that's what's inside my parentheses. Now I'm going to plug that into my f of x equation. Where's my f of x equation? Bam. Yeah, okay. So this 6 plus h is going to replace both x's. So let's do it. We're going to have f of 6 plus h. So instead of this x next to the f, I just put a h. Okay, good. And now I'm going to plug in the h plus h into where this x is using parentheses. So 9 parentheses something minus 1. And that something is that 6 plus h. Okay, now let's distribute and combine like terms. 9 times 6 is 54. 9 times h is plusative 9h. And then do I multiply the 9 with the 8? Sorry, do I multiply the 9 with the 1? No, I don't, because the 1's outside the parentheses. So I just write minus 1. Okay, combine like terms. We get 53 plus 9h. Okay, we're not done with the problem. So we just found this top left of the equation, that f of 6 plus h. Now we're going to find the top right part of the equation, f of 6. I'll do it in a different color. So to find f of 6, you're going to plug in 6 into this letter x. So 9 parentheses 6 minus 1. And then 9 times 6 is 54, minus 1 is 53. Okay. Now it says plug these into the limit equation. Okay. So my limit equation says limit h approaches 0. And you might be wondering why the h approaches 0 is kind of out to the side on these two problems. Sometimes my computer software just changes it to where the h is on the outside. H approaches 0, but it's the same thing as underneath. So you might see the h approaches 0 underneath or out to the side on the internet. Both of them are the same. Okay, so anyway, limit h approaches 0. Then we have a big old bar. Let me draw my big old bar. Looks like the letter h is on the bottom. I'm going to put h on the bottom. All right, and then now let's see, what the heck was f parentheses 6 plus h? F parentheses 6 plus h. It was equal to 53 plus 9h. So that's what I'm going to put in the top left. 53 plus 9h. Okay. Then it says minus sign in the top of this formula. So minus sign f of 6. Well, what the heck was f of 6? Oh, it was equal to 53. So I'm minus 53. And then now it says to cancel. So let's see here. I think the 53s cancel because one's a plusative, one's a negative. And then we're just left with 9h over h. But then what happens to the h's? Those cancel. And we're just left with 9. Okay. So the very last step says plug in 0 for any h's. Well, I don't have any h's left because they canceled. So my final answer is just 9. If my final answer would have been 9h plus 2, then I would plug in a 0 for the h and get 9 times 0 plus 2, which just gives you 2. But I did not have a h anymore because it crossed out. So my final answer is just the number I had left. Okay, let's do this one over here. This one is way bigger because of that tiny squared up there. But I left the 6 plus h and f of 6 the same. So let's do this sucker. First, we're going to find f of 6 plus h. And it is not always 6 plus h. Sometimes it's 2. Sometimes it's 3 plus h. I just left them 6's kind of as an accident. Whoops. Okay, so now we're going to plug in this 6 plus h. What did we do with it? 6 plus 9. Where did that 9 come from? Oh, that 9. Oh, okay. So we're going to plug in what's in the parentheses into the letter x. So instead of this letter x, I'm going to put parentheses 6 plus h. Close parentheses squared plus 7. Okay. And then I know you really want to say 6 squared is 36. H squared is h squared. And it is, you're right. But that's not all of it. Let's remember that squared means two things besides themselves. Like, when did we do this? Over here on the last video on the top, when we said x plus 6 squared, it meant x plus 6 beside themselves. 2 of them, because it was squared. So for us, we have 6 plus h, and I'm going to write it down beside itself. 2 of them, because it's squared. So 6 plus h, 6 plus h. And then there's a plus 7 out here. Okay, well, I'm going to have to multiply this all out. Just like I multiplied this 9 and 6 plus h, I have to do it here too. So let's go. 6 times 6, 36. 6 times h, 6h. H times 6, h6 or 6h. H times h, h squared. When you multiply letters, their exponents go up. And then this 7, I'm just going to bring it down. Plus 7. Okay, now let's combine like terms. The squared goes first. H squared. Then our h's. And I have 6 plus 6. That makes 12 h's. Then let's look at our naked numbers. We have 36 and 7. That makes 43. 43? That feels weird. Okay, whatever. Okay, so that's what we're going to plug into the top left of this equation. Now let's find f of 6. So f of 6, we find by plugging in 6 into the x value. So 6 squared plus 7. And that makes 36 plus 7, or 43. Woohoo! And usually the 43 that I just got should match the naked number that you got for the first piece. Just like on this last example, see how the 53s matched? So your naked numbers should match every time. If they don't, you did something wrong. Okay, so now let's put this into this limit formula. The limit formula says limit h approaches 0 f of 6 plus h, that's that thing we got with the squared in it. So I'm just going to go ahead and write it down. Then it says minus sign, minus f of 6. F of 6 was 43. And then we are all over h. Okay, let's start canceling things out. The 43's definitely cancel. Goodbye. And we're left with h squared plus 12h over h. What? Okay, so we are on step 3 of cancel. So let's see. I think the h's can cancel here. This h on the bottom knocks out this h on the 12. And it also knocks out this squared. It becomes a 1. What? Because remember, h squared is like saying h times h. H squared is like saying 2 h's. And if we're dividing by an h, one of those knocks off and all we get is a lone h left over. So this h on the bottom cancels out with the h on the 12 and with the 2 from the squared and just gives us h to the 1, or just h, plus 12. Okay, and then this is where we get to use the 4th step. Plug in 0 for any h's. So 0 plus 12 is 12. Hey, done with that problem. And on the last example, we did not plug in a 0, but remember, that's because the h is canceled.